Hello and welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast. I'm your host, John Bruintjes. I have embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope to find out what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you enjoy the show, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that 5-star rating. Welcome again to another podcast show of HR Like a Boss. I'm your host, John Bruintjes. I am joined today by Trevor Bruintjes. Trevor is a friend of mine that we connected many, many months ago and thought it'd be a great idea to have his wisdom around hiring and talent acquisition on the show. So Trevor, welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
How would you describe the purpose of human resources?
Yeah, that is a great question because I think there's a lot of confusion around what exactly is HR, and even in the education of HR. So HR is anything to do with the humans in your business, really, from hiring, training, retention, safety. All of it kind of lands under the umbrella of HR. Strategies as to how to create teams, managing conflict. And that's what I define HR as, is anything to do with the humans within your business.
You shared an idea pre-show about agile hiring and the appropriate impact it can have on side of a business and the talent acquisition function. Tell us what that means to you and how best it can impact an organization in a positive way.
Don't live in the same world, and I've been doing this for a while, 30 years. I participated in my first hiring session 30 years ago when we posted an ad in a newspaper, and we received 50 resumes for one particular job
via mail.
And
get those resumes via mail
by fax.
Okay, cool.
Email existed, but
okay.
very
sorry
very,
to date yourself. Sorry to further
okay,
date yourself.
Okay. In its infancy, but faxing, email, mail, people would just drop them off at the business, and it was a bonkers time, but it was so different. Right now, we live in this swipe right, swipe left world. Everybody has a cell phone in their hand. Everybody is expecting instant gratification, or at least instant notification. And businesses haven't seemed to adopt. We still use the same old job advertisements, and I'll say same old because they've morphed from a 4-inch long, 1-inch wide column in a newspaper into this. I caught one the other day. It was a 4-page diatribe as to what the job description and job requirements and all that other stuff for a job that they didn't even post a salary for. I'm like, okay, nobody's going to apply for this job. It's just too much effort. So we've gone from one end to the other, and I think agile hiring is just that: hiring with some intention, hiring quickly, reacting quickly. If we are not like that, especially for our younger generation, the under 35s, the Gen Zs, the millennials, they're expecting a lot of different things. I did a really interesting experiment in August. I applied for 6 HR jobs, which is kind of ironic, right? But here's what happened. Only 3 of them got back to me, other than we got your resume email. I participated in a couple interviews even just to kind of see what's going on. One, it took 8 weeks to get back to me. If we wait 8 weeks to get back to a millennial, I mean, they're long gone by then. So agile hiring, I think, is something that we need right now in our day and age to attract and retain great staff. It just needs to happen a little faster, but we're still using old methods.
You must have written one hell of a resume, Trevor, because 3 out of 6 seems like a much higher batting average than what I hear from most candidates. So maybe for all the candidates listening out there trying to get people's attention, at least batting 500, which I guess you'd be an all-star greatest baseball player of all time, but give you credit for that. And I think that's a really cool experience. I wonder, just like, give me the one main recommendation you have for a company that maybe one of those clients that fictitiously, or maybe in your case, it wasn't fictitious, it was real, but we won't name names. What's one thing they can do today to go from that bureaucratic, too long, too many cooks in the kitchen, not clear enough hiring process. What's the one thing they can do to be better as agile hirers? What would be your recommendation?
Communicate. Make it an intentional thing. If you've got a job posting out there and you get a resume today, get back to that guy today, and don't let them off the hook. Again, this constant contact, we live in a world of instant gratification. We see constant bombardment of ads and all this other stuff on social media. We need to keep in constant contact with our potential employees. They might not even be the right person for the job, but if we're not keeping in contact, there's no chance that they're sticking around to just even try for us to even get there.
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned, Trevor, I know that's a really important cog in the wheel of hiring is this thing called a resume. And you're telling me that resumes are dead. So if they're dead, what's coming to life to replace them? Where are we at in that regard? And for those of you that just fell out of your chair, or you just crashed your car because you're like, oh my God, resumes are dead. What does that mean? And thank God, at least in my mind, that they would be. What's replacing them? Where are we going as it relates to this digital age, these millennials, as you describe them? Where are we at with that?
Where are we at with that? I think we're just going to replace it with a short, sweet application process. I have one of my clients. He's basically on his website. It just has the information that he needs. He has his job postings, and he asks, I think, 5 questions. Can you work in Canada? Your name, your phone number, your email, what job you're applying for, and can you work in Canada? And what we're finding is, and there was a study done that, if given an option for including a resume onto as part of a job hiring process, 75% of people did not. If you're an electrician that has a Red Seal ticket, or you're certified, you don't need, really, what more beyond that does a company need to know, other than I'm looking for a Red Seal electrician? So in this case, it's a very specialized industry with some special credentials. So if you've gone through the education, then you can fill out this 5 questions, and then he phones you within 24 hours and does the three head check. Do you have 3 heads? What job did you apply for? What is your history? What is your, and has the conversation human to human. AI is writing a lot of these resumes, and that's how I did those 6 jobs. I used AI, and just like a young person might, I took the job posting, I put it into AI, I took my resume, posted it, put it into AI, and said, write me the perfect resume for what my resume is for the job posting. And that might have increased my criteria and eligibility, and the reason that I got 50% callback. But this is the world we live in. So we don't need to ask a lot of questions, but we do need to get better at the interview portion of that. And what is resumes really? Other than the name, phone number, and some of the history, it creates bias. I think if people are using AI to write the resumes, they're not going to be clear. And really, we're going to that's the best version of ourselves. The resume, we're going to fluff that thing up. We're going to match that resume to match that job description that you posted, or job ad that you posted. And really, it's a fluffery of what's really going on. I think more can happen through an interview process than asking for a resume. And that's kind of why I think the resumes are dead.
How would you describe someone that does HR like a boss?
Somebody that eats, sleeps, and breathes their mission, vision, value, culture, and creates an environment that has high retention, high commitment, and creates an environment of retention. And there's so many great tactics that we can implement that don't cost a dang thing, that would improve our HR by tenfold. I think it's it's almost like it's such a broad thing, HR, human resources, but if we just focused on these couple things, values, culture, and just creating great environments, and that is to eat, sleep, and breathe by something, and I believe that has to be your values.
Trevor, great job. Thank you so much for being on the show. I had a blast. I hope to have you back, and I hope to see you somewhere at SHRM or some TA event, or the next time I'm up in Northern Canada.
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
Thanks for checking out the HR Like a Boss podcast. If it resonates with you, please leave a rating and review, or better yet, subscribe and share with a friend. Until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.